Welcome to the live Q&A for the Consciously Creating Your 2025 Online Summit. We're so excited to have you here. We have some of our amazing speakers on the call. We have a couple of listeners on the call, and we have some questions that have been sent in. And of course, the people who are here in person, they can ask some questions as well. And so we are recording so that everyone gets to benefit from all the answers and the conversation and the magical gems that come forward tonight. And I want to thank everyone who's been a part of this summit. It takes a lot of beautiful souls coming together and sharing their insights. And then, of course, everyone who joined to watch and community that made this extra special. So I'd love to just invite everybody to be introduced to our speakers, and I'll go through and just ask everybody. Laura, your beautiful face is up. So if you want to introduce yourself first.
Loving the idea that you're doing this, because when we co-create with any of the tools, whether it be astrology or intuition, we're opening ourselves up to something greater than our own self. And I'm very passionate about connecting the astrology as whispers, divination, not just, oh, Pluto is doing this, so that means that. No, it's a conscious creation. We started the year off with a big bang, I mean, literally Mars opposite Pluto this year, and that Mars retrograde has created, no, I shouldn't say it created, but we've had this landscape of a lot of very difficult and challenging events, like what's happening in California right now. But I think that going into 2025, it's so critically important for everyone to connect with the spirit of their understanding and keep themselves grounded. So this is the first step that you are doing for all of us by bringing everyone together in collaboration of remembering our divinity and connection with each other. Thanks. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Cassandra. I'm so happy you're here. All right, Laura, would you like to introduce yourself for everybody listening?
Perfect. Yes, my name is Laura Canal. I'm the founder of Miles and Smiles Alternative Solutions. I'm located in Niagara Falls, so I get a lot of international people. So I've served people from all over the world. I do different modalities as well, reflexology, energy healing, and I also do dabble in astrology and numerology. Numbers were always something that were very fascinating to me, whether I was playing Sudoku or adding things up or mental math, but numerology is something that I play around with quite a lot. And heading into 2025, I always looked at the number 20 as an awakening, and 25 to me is the spirit within. So it's an awakening to the spirit within and really going inside and really having, that connection with everybody, because it is 9, universal year 9, and it's all about that humanitarian vibe, power to the people, and just being connected in the wisdom of the creation and connecting us all. So yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
All right. Yeah, no problem. And Vanessa, how about for you?
Thank you for having me. I'm grateful to be surrounded or participate with such awesome people, because it really does, especially after the past couple of years, it's been a super bumpy start. I think many of us have had. For those of you who aren't familiar with me, my name is Vanessa Corazon. I am a bit more business astrology focused. I focus on using astrological cycles for planning, figuring out kind of our productivity or energy, and then setting goals based primarily around that. We tend to also focus on things around marketing and on cash flow cycles, which those are important for everybody, whether you're in business or not. So kind of understanding our relationship with money using astrology, essentially, and when we're going to be feeling a tighter pull on the purse strings versus when we're going to be feeling like we're more comfortable with taking risks. And I think that that's something that's really helpful to look at. So we're going to have some big changes this year. We have Venus retrograde at the same time that we have Mercury retrograde. It's also the beginning of a new Venus 8-year cycle. And I look at that as a period of starting new passion projects. So the last one that we had was 2017, and it was within about a degree of where this one is going to be. There's major activation around 0 degrees Aries this year. Nodes are moving across in there. We have the Saturn and Neptune moving across there as well. And then we're going to have this Venus retrograde there. And it's solar conjunction. And Mercury's conjunction with the sun is also going to be around there. So it's a very big year of starting things hopefully that are not so connected to survival, because I feel like we've been really trying to manage and figure out our energy, especially for the past couple of years. And this past year, especially with North Node being in Aries, and we're about to cross over and make that new shift into Pisces. We're tired. We're tired of surviving. We're tired of motivating ourselves out of fear. We're tired of kind of trying to push ourselves and keep pushing ourselves. And I think that there's a desire to create something that's inspiring, especially for this new future, because I think that's been the hardest thing that people have struggled with, is we can't visualize a future. Everything feels like kind of like a, like Russian roulette. Like we're kind of like trying to figure out, is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? And to try and anticipate and constantly be in that state of anticipation, but not positive anticipation, negative anticipation. And I think there's an opportunity to shift away from the fear and start to focus on what we actually do want to create moving forward, because it is a brave new world with these astrological transits that we're sitting on between this year and next year. And I do think that there's a great amount of opportunity there, especially with the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So thank you for having me, Sam.
Awesome. You're very welcome. I think it's so great that you guys are here. And it's funny, I've been wanting to introduce you and Cassandra and Stormy for quite a while. So it worked out really beautifully that we could do that this time. So thank you. And Tammy Adams, how about for you?
Well, just like everyone else, I'm thrilled to be here. I love partnering with Sam with anything that she does. So when she asked, I was there in a heartbeat. I also work with energy. I'm an intuitive, not on the level that all of you are, but I dabble in that as well. But I've kind of pushed that more to the background of my business. And what's kind of moved to the forefront is grief recovery and personality assessment. And you may wonder how this fits into this year, 2025. Well, one of the things is the grief, unresolved emotions, unresolved past, unfinished business. Those are all low energy frequencies. And if we're going to move into this new way of being in a higher frequency, one of the priorities is really clearing the deck, doing some housekeeping emotionally, and getting ourselves in a really good place to step into this higher vibration. So that's really at the forefront of what I do. But I find that sometimes when people are done resolving their grief, they really need a little bit of direction. And that's where the personalities assessments come in. I've been doing them corporately and privately since 1995. And what it does is it not only gives you a blueprint of who you are on an authentic level, but it gives you the verbiage to be able to say to people, this causes me stress. This is what motivates me. This is how I like to learn. These are my core values. This is how I like to learn. And so when you have that blueprint, especially after you've dumped all these lower vibrational frequencies, you're in a really good place to really step into. And Vanessa, you finally were able to put words to what I've been trying to say. We've been in survival mode and we're exhausted. And I really couldn't articulate that till I just heard you say that. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. So I'm just happy to be here.
Oh, we're happy to have you. Thank you. All right, there she is, Shirley Felder. So I hope you guys had a chance to listen to Shirley's interview, our conversation. She was up as our ending speaker. She got to close out the show, if you will. So Shirley, if you'd like to hop on and just introduce yourself and maybe share something you loved about the summit or any other insights you'd like to share.
So first, thank you, thank you, thank you. I much like Tammy. If Sam says we're going to Mars and then we're going to bounce over to Jupiter and we're going to hang out in Venus and have a drink, I'm there. I don't care how we get there, I'm there. So I'm Shirley, and I am, of course, a motivational speaker, but I like to call myself Chief Inspirational Operating Officer of my company. And my job is just to inspire people. Sometimes it's my job to piss you off just enough to inspire you and say, if that crazy chick can do this, and she's been there and she's written this, then I know that I can do this. And I'm okay with you saying that. Sometimes I want to nudge you just to make you feel that way, because we really, really, really forget when life gets hard, when we're surviving. Vanessa, when you said that, I don't know if you saw my face light up, right? But I was like, oh my God, I am so sick of that word. I'm sick of resilient and surviving, right? Those two words make me just want to, ooh, right? Just take a bite out of something. And so I'm sick of that. And I tell you, and then when you said the last one was in 2017. So in 2017 is when I really started pushing my business, Ordinary Greatness. That's when I broke out, right? And then, I cowered down a little bit and chickened out and said, who's going to listen to me? You're so crazy. And, you don't come out and say, I'm going to help you do this and help you do that, because I'm not. I'm just going to help you see that you are a badass and you are amazing. And you've been given these gifts and talents that we just keep saying, oh, it's not for me. Well, whoever your God is, he didn't send it to the stranger for you. He sent it to you for you. And we keep pushing it off. And I'm the queen and the king of that, but not in 2025, because I know that there are people who need to hear my insanity, but it's real life stuff that most people are afraid to talk about. And Sam will tell you, I talk about everything. I talk about our finances, I talk about our children, I talk about our businesses. I've been an entrepreneur for 32 years, and I took a job this year working for someone. Whoo, 2025, I'll be back in my own blue suede shoes, baby, because I am meant for more than this. But it was the rude awakening I needed. And every now and then, that's what we need. We need something to push that button, to piss us off, to get up out of that seat and say that I was meant for more than this. And that's my job on this planet, to remind all of you, I'm specifically working with women, but I pray men listen, because we know what we're talking about and we ask for directions and we take them too. So that's pretty much, my thing. So this year I am truly, and Sam's been listening to me for years, I'm truly launching my workshops, and I'm putting together, I'm going to whisper this because I'm going to lasso her into it, but I am putting together a retreat at a beautiful, beautiful place down here. And I can't wait to put it all together, to get a bunch of women in the woods, away from everything, and just talk about us, right down to our sexuality, because that's where our power comes from. And we kind of shun that and don't address that either. So I go there. So I'm looking forward to a great 2025. And I love when Sam invites me to things like this, because I get to pick some of the most amazing minds ever from a different avenue from me. And we know when we paint with a wider brush, we make beautiful artistry. And that's what we do as women.
Beautiful, beautiful. Count me in, I'll be there. So happy to have you here. And, that really just cements what this summit is all about. Yes, it is about bringing together some absolutely amazing, beautiful, inspiring speakers, as we all know, but it's really about bringing everyone together and everyone having a chance to share where they're at and where they're going. And we've had some fun on our morning kickoff calls, getting to hear from our guests as well as our speakers. And the comments hopefully will continue to grow as well on the videos. As you know, the videos aren't going to disappear. They are going to stay on the channel, and the speakers can share them and the viewers can share them, and we can share those messages out to others. But I'm also going to download them to MP3 to put up on my podcast to share that way. And I know some of the speakers are going to take snippets and share them on their platform. So we're going to just get the messages out and share all the wisdom that came together in the last 3 powerful days, and it'll grow and continue to grow. So thank you to all our speakers, and thank you to those of you who are on the live call. I did invite people to send questions in, and we did get some. I had a good little giggle at a couple of them. They're great questions, so we'll get started. So the first one was, I loved everyone, and I think it's cool that the astrologers are slightly different. Are there different ways of reading astrology? So Cassandra, if you'd like to answer that first.
Astrology, well, first of all, it's an art and a science. And like when we take pictures of or do any sort of art, we use different mediums. So astrologers, the two basic forms of astrology, that's Vedic astrology and Western astrology. And I don't know, I've studied the Vedic, but I'm a Western astrologer primarily. So basically, when we're looking at a year ahead, we want to see what's happening. What are the categories? If I'm feeling a little low energy in this room tonight, I've been doing like 5 different classes this week on the year ahead. And to mirror what Vanessa was saying, I think any astrologer would agree that 2025 is this amazing year of new beginnings, but it's going to be a little bit of a rocky road outside of ourselves. And so the onus is on connecting with our inner badass, Shirley Ann, and the God of our understanding. So no matter what is happening, we can keep our groundedness about ourselves. And we had a collective experience in 2020, the year of transformation. We don't like to talk about that nasty year, but that was an initiation into all sorts of fear and how we cope with fear. And I don't know an astrologer around who had predicted a virus in 2020. But myself and some other fellow astrologers, we did a cruise that left on January 12th to prepare people for the year of transformation, because we did know we'd have a lot of manipulation and the old order come crashing down. Manipulation, power, and fear. And we went into survival, and we're still having some post-traumatic stress from the year of COVID. But as we move forward in 2025, there'll be bugs out there. Trust me. Mr. Gates and Mr. Fauci have told us we're going to have pandemics, but we, the people, will be changing the way we react to it, because Pluto, the power planet, is now firmly entrenched in Aquarius. So again, everyone has different reads on that, but we're in a revolutionary year. First time since 1798. 1798, friends, when we had the French Revolution, the American Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, and before that was the Reformation. 258 years before that was Martin Luther saying, I ain't listening to that Pope anymore. And we had the rise of Protestantism. So there was a revolution in 1500s, a revolution in 1800s, and we're having a revolution for the next 20 years. But the revolution is putting the energy back on the people and doing what we're doing here, right? Connecting with each other. So there's a horizontal plane of power. It's not vertical down. It's not the hierarchy saying, you do that. No. We are our own authorities now, because we went through that. That's my thought.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Vanessa, how about for you? What do you have to say for that?
I think the question, so I can jog my memory, the question
You want
was
me to
about
reread
different.
it?
Yeah, please. Why?
So, are there different ways of reading astrology?
Oh, okay. Yes. So I would look at it akin to let's look at Old English and New English, right? We can look at Shakespeare and we can say, okay, well, that's not the English of today, but it's still English. And we can look at, the slang of my 15-year-old son, and we can say, well, that's not really English either, but yet it's English. And so the way that I would say astrology is a form of communication. And you're going to have really old forms, which would be more like Hellenistic astrology, more medieval astrology. You're going to have Vedic forms, which are also very old. And those ones are going to follow those are fixed to the constellations. Whereas Western astrology is based on the seasons. So we're looking at the change of the tropical seasons. So that's why it's connected to the equinox and the solstices, right? And it's based on, from our perspective here on Earth, rather than on the movement of fixed stars. And so Vedic astrology, we can say it's, if we're looking at it from constellations, that constellation is going to move like 1 degree every 72 years. Whereas with Western astrology, it's different. It's based on, the point of the sun, the ellipsis of the earth, those paths that we're looking at, and the mark of those seasons. And so in that regard, it is very different. But what I find interesting is that you can look at it no matter what methodology you're choosing to use. Oddly enough, it all comes down to the same answers. It's very strange like that. Like I can say, oh, okay, I'm going to look at it from like a psychological astrology perspective, which would be, again, Western usually. Or I can look at it from a medieval astrology, or I can look at it from a Vedic astrology, and we're all seeing the same things that Cassandra was talking about. We're all seeing revolution. We're all seeing a very massive change in this year and within the next couple of years. For collective. So I think what you want to find, it's very similar to what our faith is. We can come back and we can say, well, I don't have to necessarily believe in a religion, but I believe that there's intelligence and things. And so we're coming back to that core source. And astrology does the same thing. You can have many different approaches to it, but what you're coming back to is that core source, which is essentially our relationship to this planet that we live on and the cycles that we get to exist within. I don't know if that answers the question. I hope it does.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right. Ready for the next question, guys? Absolutely. I am feeling stressed in life. If you could share how you refocus yourself, that would help. Thanks. That's from Amy. All right. So Tammy, how about for you? Just quickly, how do you tend to refocus when you're feeling stressed?
Well, when I'm feeling stressed, it's usually that something's pushing my buttons, and what we try to do is we try to understand it and analyze it and understand it intellectually. But what I've learned is a lot of this stuff is emotional. It's, like I said earlier, it's unfinished business. So the very first place I go is, do I have any unresolved emotions? Is there something triggering me? Because you're looking at somebody who lived in fight and flight my entire life. And I have been immersed in the personal development field for probably 40 years. And every single practitioner, every modality brought me closer and closer and closer. But I didn't find this inner peace that I've got right now till I started to deal with the emotional stuff. And it's a much different language than dealing with it intellectually. And your heart doesn't need to be understood. It just needs to be heard. And when it's heard in the correct way, it just releases. So that's what I do. And then if that doesn't get it, okay, then I go back to those other modalities and those other things. But 9 times out of 10, that takes care of it. So I hope that answers that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. How about for you, Shirley? How do you refocus when you're feeling stressed?
So I've learned the magic of asking myself questions, right? And so the main thing is, will this matter next week? Am I bleeding? Am I dying? Is it giving me real physical pain? Will it matter next week or a month? And I know sometimes we don't have time to think about that, but if we do, 9 times out of 10, it's going to alleviate it. Because right now we feel like it's just got its hands around us and we don't know what to do. And most of the time, it's just not that serious because it is emotional. Something is bothering you. Something has pushed you. This person walked by you. I don't like this person. Why didn't you like that person? They walked by me too fast. Are you upset because you're walking slower because you have bad knees, Shirley? Like that happened to me the other day. I was like, why did she walk by me so rude? She wasn't being rude. Her knees work. Mine don't. Right? So when you think about it and ask yourself logical questions like, will that really matter in a week from now? Am I bleeding? Am I dying? Now, if it's on a serious note, then you say to yourself, and I say this all the time, I use it with my kids, I use it in different courses that I've teach, take a piece of paper and fold it in half, right? And whatever this thing is that's bothering you, on the left side, if you make a decision to go left or right, what's the good things that'll happen? And on the right, what's the worst case scenario? And most of the time, because we have this amazing thing called instinct and intuition, right? That if we go with that, it's going to be better to just do the damn thing and get out of that feeling. And then worst case scenario, find some humor, laugh, release some oxytocin, some endorphins, pretend you've just had sex and get over it because you're going to live tomorrow and you've got shit to do, places to go, people to see, and lives to change because every one of us have been given a gift. It may not be the world to change. It could be your child, your neighbor, a group of women, a group of men, but everyone has something special in them because God doesn't make junk, whoever your God is. So we've just got to stop taking it so personal because it's those a million emotions that are going through us, right? And they just, I remember I went to a project one time and they gave us a whole bunch of glitter to put in a jar and glue and water. And I'm mad. I'm like, I didn't come here for arts and crafts. Like, what is this crap? I drove 30 miles. I paid $35 on the internet and I'm doing arts and crafts. And we shook that sucker up. And then she said, now set it down. And we set it down. I'm like, oh, and I'm brewing, you know? And she said, those are all the thoughts running through your head. Now pick one and solve the problem. And I was like, well, damn. I didn't think about it like that because it is. I'm mad, I'm good, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm broke, I'm rich, I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm lonely. All of this going through us. And we're juggling all of this while we're going to work, taking care of our kids, driving to work, whatever it is, going to the bank, balancing the books, and these emotions are zipping through us. So we've got to break that cycle and say, is it that serious? Is it really that serious? Because most of the time it isn't. And if we can find a little bit more humor, and then look over to the left or right if we're in the public and see somebody who needs help across the street or they drop something that you pick up, it just alters your complete stage to love someone or help someone. That's what I do.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what I heard in that, Shirley, I think we have witnesses, is that you're up for adventure anytime. And so the next time that Sam says to you, we're going to take a city bus through LA, you're going to be like, heck yeah, I can do that with you, crazy girl.
She's insane. We're in LA, right? And she wants to take a city bus through the hood. I'm not going in the hood. But she goes and she's on the playground and she's having a blast. And I'm like pacing, like, I hope they get back. I hope they get back. And they just come back laughing and having so much fun. And so I'm a different person now. That was, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. I don't remember. Yeah, I think it's 10 years ago. So now I will get on that city bus and go through the hood with you anywhere.
Beautiful, beautiful. You're all my witness. We were at a coaching conference and I took a bunch of the people from all over. Come on, we're going to go on an adventure. They thought it was part of the conference. So they're like, this is my favorite part of the conference. I'm like, oh no, this is just an add-on. It's just an add-on. This is just what I do when I'm traveling. We had a lot of fun with that. So thank you, Shirley. All right, and Miss Laura, how about for you? What are some things that you do to refocus when you're feeling really stressed?
So as I was listening to Shirley and as I was listening to Cassandra talking, it's so funny. Stories started popping into my head. So in December, a couple of things happened. So the biggest thing I had to do is step back and think, okay, so what do I do now? And then find an expert. Okay, 2 scenarios. One was I was at the dollar store. It was on the 17th. It was Wednesday. It was on the 17th of December. I got out of the dollar store. I was all excited. I got the wrapping paper. I wanted to wrap the big gifts for my grandchildren. So I get in the car, turn on the car, and my windshield wiper in the back went, which I thought was really weird because I didn't really have it on. And I heard, I look back and I'm like, do I have a window sill? is that clear? What am I looking at right now? And I went into a stress mode as I'm driving, and between where I was in the dollar store and home was my mechanic. So I decided to drive to the mechanic, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, the guy that does window shills isn't here right now." I said, "Okay." So I took his car, went home, and it's the day that it's slushy snow out. And I have no back window of my car, and it's a hatchback. So I get a tarp and I fix it all up and I'm cleaning up all this. And the guy calls me because I called him and said, I need a window sill. And he goes, "Okay, well, bring your car in tomorrow." I said, "Well, I work all day." And I had clients from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And he goes, "Yeah, no problem. I'll deal with the insurance. I'll do this. I'll do that." It was 2 o'clock on the Wednesday, and the guy dropped off my car to my work at 1 o'clock the next day. And I was like, oh, I have beautiful guides and angels around me. So having faith in what happens next is find an expert, find whatever you need, whatever the stressor is, and find the person to help you out. Next Wednesday, I walked to the back. I had my winter tires put on and walked to the back to my shed. There's a dead skunk in my backyard. I walked in the house. I said to my daughter, "What do I do with a dead skunk?" She goes, "Let me call my girlfriend. She works at the Humane Society." I go, "Okay." She goes, "Well," so she found out, she looked at the website for the region and everything. So if it's in your backyard, you have to deal with it. So I dug a hole under my oak tree and I buried this skunk, and so it's basically not being stressed about it, but just finding what the answer is and dealing with it. So there's my
Absolutely.
solution.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's so true too. I think you give a lot of wisdom there, because often the root of fear is that we just don't have the information we need. So if we can't access that information within ourselves and our own hearts and our own intuition, finding the expert who can explain it to us can alleviate so much, so much. Now we're really lucky because Miss Stacy's joined us. So Stacy, welcome to the call. If you'd like to quickly just introduce yourselves, and then we're answering the question. One of our listeners, viewers, she was sharing that she's feeling a lot of stress lately, and she asked how we refocus when we're feeling really stressed.
No, that's an excellent question. And hopefully I don't go poof, because my internet has been poofing me out of things all day. So thanks. So I won't get stressed about it, though. It just is what it is. Divine timing, hopefully. I am Stacy Shuerman, but I just got married, so I'll be changing my name to Shawl. And I am a spiritualist. I live in Lilydale, New York. I own the coffee house, and I just am a spiritual being having a human experience, loving sharing with everyone else, and learning from everybody else. I think that stress in our human experience is going to be something that we're always going to come across on our daily walk through life. And so sometimes, for me, I have to learn that it's always going to be there. It's just if I decide to breathe it in or not, and take it in is probably one of the things that I practice a lot through kind of almost breath work. When I start to feel my mind going to, oh my gosh, what should I do? Or I find myself bouncing back and forth trying to do this to accomplish this. Or if I find myself laying on the couch for hours and don't want to get up, I realize that, I'm reacting to stress, right? Which is always, like I said, always going to be there. It kind of to Laura's point of a skunk. Skunks are always going to exist in the world. The question is do I want to pick it up and take it home? So I kind of do a lot of self-reflection that way. And for me, it's the breath. I always come back to my breath because I do it. I don't even know. I wonder if there's a scientist out there who knows how many breaths do we take in one given day. And, you know, out of those breaths that we take in one given day, how many times have we paid attention to them? So I feel like paying attention to my breath helps me kind of center myself into exactly where I am emotionally or energetically, and then reevaluate. Okay, do I want to go back to how I was 3 minutes ago, or do I want to try to pivot into a different direction? And normally, like,
Beautiful.
I like Laura. I have to say that skunk is just, I love it. So thank you for I was listening to that. So thank you.
Yeah, we have some skunk
Beautiful.
scenarios, eh, Sam?
Mm-hmm. We sure do. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so let's go on with the next question. So this is the one I had a little giggle about. Do you all know each other? I bet it'd be a lot of fun at a dinner party with y'all. So just for fun. So Laura, how many people on the call have you known or met before? Out of the speakers?
I think there is 3. Aaron, I've met Shirley before. I met Dee before. I think that was it that I've met before. I'm not sure if I met the Kawartha mediums or not. I was going to ask you that.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so, but they're not far away, so you'll have to just check them out and go visit sometime.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. How about for you, Vanessa? Did you know anybody else on the call?
Just you. Yeah, just you.
Just
A couple of my lab members are listening right now though, so I know them. But for
Oh,
the
yay.
the event that you've hosted, there's just been you. And Uni says to answer Stacy's question, 25,000 breaths a day.
That is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you started out with one and now you've got a bunch of new friends.
Yeah, it's awesome. And y'all are right up my alley. So I'm just gonna say that. Like, I'm like, man, I feel like we know each other.
Yeah, I know. That's why I had a giggle when that question came in. Shirley, how about for you? How many people on the call do you know?
So let's see. I've met Cassandra, Laura before. I think that might be it. Yeah, I think
So, fun fact, you actually know Emily or have met Emily before because she was with us in LA at that coaching conference.
Oh,
So
see,
you'll have to
okay.
watch her video. You will be like, I knew her. Yep. So you have met
Okay.
Emily before.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, Shirley or Stacy, how about for you? How many people have you met before on the call?
So that's fine. First of all, like, when are we gonna do dinner? Because I say yes, I've met, I've already missed.
We're gonna all come to Sacred Grounds this summer in Lilydale. Come on out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So and I have an active social media life. So I know people through association is what I feel like. So can I be so bold to say spiritually, I've probably known you all before. But in this human incarnation, I know Cassandra. I've been to some of her astrology or seen her on Facebook Live. If I've met you in person, I apologize for not remembering that, but I do know your face. And Kelly, I believe, are you? Yeah, I've met you and I've sat with you a few times at the Church of the Living Spirit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and
See, small
Sam,
worlds.
yeah, I love it. They really do collide, don't they? Always.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And how about for you, Cassandra? Any familiar faces to you?
Truly, everyone feels so familiar to me, even though we've not have sat down and had conversations, every one of you. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I really think we should check our nodes. The nodes know, right? The nodes are the indication of past lives. And that's another thing that's happening in 2025. The collective conversation is moving towards health. Go figure. Emotional, physical, spiritual health this year. We're getting out of survival and a creative embracing of beauty and health and balance. It's again, this is a good example with the question about astrology. Some astrologers, and you may hear me talk about it. In fact, tonight I'll be having to leave. It's 8:30. I do the Wednesday night at 8:30 every Wednesday, and I'll be bringing this up tonight. There's the nodes are the eclipses, friends, and the eclipses change and they set the agenda for unconscious conversation across the planet. And as Vanessa so beautifully said, and I love what you said about the fear and survival mode we've been in since July of 2023, post-COVID, and now we're getting into the juiciness of taking care of ourselves. And some nodes are mean, averaging, or true nodes. So on January 11th, you'll hear some astrologers say, oh, the nodes changed. And then the other astrologers who work with mean nodes, this is all perspective now, say, oh no, the nodes are changing on January 29th. So it's the modality or the tools we use to determine slight shifting. And astrology, like I think all these beautiful tools, your wonderful work, Tammy, with emotional analysis of people and everything else that everyone does here, there's shades and gradients because humans sometimes want to know the answer, but I think the answer isn't an answer, it's blending and this psychic says this. Does anyone ever get that? You go to different psychics or mediums, you get different answers, but you all comes to the same kind of, it's because there's no one absolute. There's gradation and changes. And so that's why I'm so thrilled to be in this group of fabulous soul people who are working their different tools. We all have the answer. It might not be the exact same answer because viva la difference. Anyway, I'm just rambling.
We love when you ramble. It's all good. I think we all have that gift. That's one of our commonalities. Inspired rambling. How about for you, Tammy? How many do you know on the call? I think you were the last one to
I was
answer this.
looking real quick for the photos, but I think when I went through them on day one, I think you were the only one I know. And then on the screen today, I also know Kelly. But yeah, I think you were the only, because I went through, I looked, tried to find it really quick and I couldn't find it really fast, but I'm pretty sure I went through all the faces and I didn't know anyone else. So, but again, happy to be here.
Yeah, like Vanessa, now you have a room full of friends. So that's one of the beauties of doing events like this. All right, beautiful. So this is, we have a couple more questions, but I'm not sure on the time, so I'll try to consider that. Looking at 2025, what are you most excited for? So Tammy, we'll start with you.
Well, what I'm so excited for is I think this is a new beginning. I really feel that in my gut. And I feel that it's a time where we can start dreaming again, where we can really step into that authenticity of who we are. And I really feel like we're moving into a time of being in service to others. And, being able to step into that service role is just so exciting. And I mean, I know all of us on the call are in that service mode already, but I just think there's going to be such a shift in humanity away from this kind of archaic way that we've been interacting and living. And I think there's going to be a freedom that we never anticipated. And I agree with what other people have said on the call. I think there's still a kind of a rocky road between right now and when we get there. But I'm really hopeful that it's happening in 2025. I really am.
Beautiful, beautiful. How about for you, Cassandra? What are you most excited for?
The new beginnings. And as Vanessa said, there's this dance that's going on between what's considered to be the planet of reality, Saturn, and Neptune they're going to be dancing, and it's pretty, they're pretty darn close at 0 degrees of Aries. I think everybody here probably recognizes what Aries is. If I say Aries, you may say ram or fiery or newness. It's the first sign of the zodiac. And so in astrology, the 0 point is considered to be fresh new starts. And these two planets, one has an orbit of 168 years, Neptune, and Saturn's orbit is 30. They happen to be converging in 2025, and they perfect, or they're exact, on February 20th or 26th. So they're following each other, and they're doing this dance in the first sign of the zodiac and the first degree of the zodiac. And Neptune is dream, and I think you mentioned dreams, Tammy, and Saturn is reality. So we're getting a new opportunity to dream a new dream and to ground it in a new way. Each of us, where 0 degrees of Aries falls in our charts. So I'm super excited about that. It happens to fall in my house of work, so I can't even imagine what kind of cool things I might be inspired to do in 2025. It's in everyone's chart somewhere. 0 Aries, brand new start.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Shirley, how about for you? What are you most excited for?
Well, I'm most excited because my new book just came and my book just came in, my book order. So I did a book with Rod and a couple of other Canadians, since I love them so much. And so I'm excited to be able to use that to launch into my teaching people about getting their ships together. I'm really ready to launch my whole ships workshop because we need to know how to get those worships, hardships, entrepreneurships, relationships. We got to get them together. And we can say we're going to do all these things, but if you don't know who you are, where you're going, why you're going there, and which ship you got to get on to get there, you are going to be right in the same spot you were last year. It's my job to help
Beautiful.
you.
So just so everybody
Yeah.
knows, what's the name of your book?
It is called Finding Your Values. And it's all about our values because, we learn about them, we know them, but we kind of stray away from them. And we start saying yes to things that have nothing to do with us and we're not interested just because we don't want to hurt people's feelings or we want to be liked or famous, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, I had an awakening with my values because I'm saying like just things aren't right. And I know I'm pretty savvy and they weren't right because I was just yesing people. Yes, 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 sure. And then I wouldn't complete it or I wouldn't do it because it's not in alignment with me. Right. So this book allowed me to do some more work on that. But more importantly, it allowed me to my article, my title of my story in the book is called Scared Shipless instead of shitless.
I think that's so awesome. I heard the P turn into a T a few moments ago. I thought, huh? But get your ship together. I love that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm
Awesome.
excited.
Congratulations. That's so exciting. And so this is book number 2 then.
3.
3.
Yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations again. That's so awesome. For you, Stacy, what are you most excited for?
So I am excited for community building. Like I just love being able to create and hold space for people to meet one another and talk. And I really think that in the fact that I'm a medium, right, or a psychic or a reader, right, I'm an energy communicator, and I think that we're set for, we have very good conditions to create a room for discussion again, and conversation again and community again. And so I'm excited to, hold that space and do my little part, and make that coffee, if you would, and hold that space for that to, develop and nurture and grow in this next year.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. For you, Laura, what are you most excited for?
Stepping into my leadership role and being more expansive than before. It's funny, I haven't been back to Lilydale since 2019. So it's been 5 years. And, with listening to the speakers and listening to everyone, and it's like, I need to go back. I need to get there again. It's, I really haven't really expanded in moving out of my own comfort zone here, working and I do my, I work with my clients and I do that, but not doing any exploration as in traveling. And so I guess this is the time. And actually I was listening to Cassandra's talk and all of her transformation for the Pluto for the next, because my sun is in Gemini and my ascending sign or rising sign is in Aries. So yeah, it's time for me to write a book and travel and just step into that energy that I need to stand up and, let people look at me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, joining before we ask Vanessa the question, just to join the two of you, you're looking for travel, and Vanessa has an amazing retreat in Sedona in March. So that's one of the things I'm most looking forward to. So Vanessa, how about you? What are you most looking forward to for 2025?
I was dreading you asking me this question. Okay, so
Because you
yes,
have to pick just
I have
one.
2 retreats coming. I'll just put my personal shingle out. You guys are interested in doing some traveling. The spring equinox, we're going to be in Sedona at Crane Petroglyph site to be there for all things astrological. And then there's going to be one in Stonehenge for summer solstice for this year. So I haven't done any traveling outside of fleeing the country there a couple of years ago during all the insanity, which I can't really count as traveling, but there we go. So there hasn't been much there for me either. In terms of less personal stuff, less business related stuff in terms of excitement, I don't know if there's a right way to answer this question. What I would say is that I'm intelligent. What's the right word? I'm cautiously optimistic about 2025. Is that a thing, to be cautiously optimistic
Yeah.
about a year? Okay. Because I know that we're in for it. I know that there's going to be, it's a bumpy fucking road. And if I can swear, I just did. Sorry. It's going to be really bumpy astrologically. And we know that. We know that it's going to be intense. And so, yes, there's pockets of things slowing down. But, for the US, which sets the stage for pretty much everybody, we have Sun conjunct Pluto on Trump's inauguration day. That's at the MC. That's insane. That's like, I don't even know what you play the lotto. You probably have a better chance at winning the lotto than you do at getting a transit like that. So there's definitely big indicators, and that's going to affect many countries, Canada being one. There's many Canadians on the call. Canada being one, but a lot of other countries are also, whether it's through tariffs or things like that are happening there. I think it's going to be affecting everyone. So there's that. And then there's the fact that, yes, there's major, really significant transits that none of us will ever be alive to see again that are going to be happening this year. And so when you look at that, and you can't ask your grandmother what it was like when that transit happened when she was alive either, or your great grandmother if you happen to be lucky enough to have her around. Like what we're stepping into is completely unknown. And so I think that we're not really going to see the true impact of that for many more years. And so I think we're standing on the precipice of something that we don't actually fully understand yet, whether it's AI, whether it's quantum computing, whether it's whatever. We're dancing with stuff right now that we won't really see the full ramification of for a long time. Like the Saturn Neptune conjunction we're gonna dance with it this year, as Cassandra was talking about. And we're going to have it more fully with the full conjunction in February 2026. That's a 35-year transit, 35, 36 years. So, maybe when I'm on my deathbed, I'll be able to fully understand the ramification of what we're living through right now. Like, I think like that's something that's just really profound. And so I say cautiously optimistic because I think on an internal level, it's going to be an amazing, incredible year as long as we can control the fear, because the outside is going to be mayhem. But the inside is, we have to be the center of the storm for the inside. And if we can do that, I think there's some really magical stuff in there. Like the movement into Pisces, so much artistic pursuit, so much spiritual opportunity to grow and expand and to create a new world. But we won't know what we're creating until we're pretty far into it. And so I think like that's the question of looking at that of, you know, what do I want to create and how clear in my intention can I get within that where I'm not inviting fear and I'm not inviting, you know, really kind of the ripple effect of the past few years, which has had us on a really bumpy road for a little while. I don't know if that answers your question or not. I feel like that kind of went broad and in there a little bit.
Yeah, we love when you do that.
I
Beautiful.
want to jump in
I
here.
think for me, sorry, what's that, Cassandra?
Oh, I just want to reiterate a very strong, big thing that's going to be affecting everyone in this room. Even if we haven't done ChatGPT before, only 5% of people over 65, according to the Pew Research, use it regularly. We're having a revolution of interconnection with the new technology and AI, and that's going to be very life-changing. And so we have to keep our humanity very closely guarded because it's the infiltration of technology. So I want to just reiterate that for you, for all of us, Vanessa.
Beautiful.
I agree. Yeah.
I think for me, connections, what I am most excited about for this year. Not just connection with, you know, the people that I love and the people I admire and beyond, but I think that we're going through a transformation of connection as well. I think really 2020 kickstarted that. With not seeing each other, people really had to tap into intuition and learn to connect in other ways. And I find more and more people now saying to me, I never used to believe in this, but this crazy thing happened. And isn't that interesting that it also happened for 5 other people? And all of a sudden, people are starting to understand that there's more than just their body. And I'm really excited to see where that goes and how that translates for people awakening and trusting their gifts, trusting the things they can't see, and just knowing that they're there. So that for me is what I'm most excited about, I think. For the chat, we had Mike ask a question, so I'll make sure I ask it. Do you see a serious drop in the stock market this year? Might Pluto be involved? So Cassandra, what do you think?
There's been a lot of talk about digital currencies in the past, well, I would say 14 years. And then the reordering of the US as the world currency with the Pluto return, which means a recreation of the world of money in the US's chart. I think that's part of the bumpiness. I don't know how we're going to land, but I did do a little research on Jupiter and Cancer for both Canada and the United States. That happens every 12 years. Every time it happens, there's usually a bump with the stock market and housing. I think housing is a value and an issue. Affordable housing might do an upturn, and the housing markets and the realtor markets are also connected. The number one thing connected to the economy. So there will be probably some wild swings. And I bet you Vanessa's probably looked at this even more so with her financial astrology. We could probably even make some wild guesstimates. But what do you think, Vanessa? Do you think it's going to be like some wildness and that will still be standing?
It's a good question. And I love that you shared that and your research into Jupiter and Cancer, because I was wondering, I know that, you know, we're going to see definitely more focus on families and the things that the needs of families are going to become really prominent. There was an astrologer whose name Louise McWhirter, and she had a study, her theory. It's actually a book called The Theory. I think I have the title of it if you guys are interested in it. Anyway, she talked about it's focusing on nodal cycles, and nodal cycles, you know, real estate's very much tied to nodal cycles. Hers was on stock markets as well. She focused on that. And so she said, Taurus, North Node in Taurus was a transition point into a low. So we were seeing a low. And so that was not this past year, but the year before we had that nodal shift. And so that was probably, I think that was around 2023. We had that show. I don't have the exact dates on me right now, but we're not going to see the pickup, the recovery, the full recovery until we get North Node in Aquarius. So we're really looking at, this North Node's movement into Pisces. We're looking at 18 months of it being in Pisces, and then it's going to go into Aquarius. And about halfway point through Aquarius, we'll start to see a rebuilding. And so it is interesting to look at it that way. So if we won't see, I think, recovery in all areas. And the other thing to keep in mind is that recovery is not instant. We're looking at, we won't see the fullest recovery until we have North Node back in Leo. So we're really looking at about 10 years before we're really going to see full recovery of the damage that's been done at an economic scale. Now, how does that affect specific stock markets? Like we could look at, New York Stock Exchange's chart, and we can look at that. And even in periods where there's low economic growth, some stocks in some areas are going to do way better than others. In terms of housing is incredibly expensive, but it's a need, and it's not one of the things that people are going to give up as easily. Like some other things, you might sell your car, you might, sell some family heirlooms and stuff, but you're not going to get rid of your housing unless you absolutely have to. So that's going to be one of the last things that people are going to hold on to, even if it gets more and more expensive. So even Jupiter in Cancer, as Cassandra said, I think we're going to see more of that. But we are, we're not at the bottom yet. I don't know if that helps, like in terms of looking at, where economic scales are. We're not at the bottom until we get into North Node and Aquarius. So we do have about another 18 months to 2 years before we start seeing things drop. Pluto's movement into Aquarius, that really makes the reality of things like digital currencies for countries become something that we're probably going to see more of. We've already seen the creation of BRICS, with several countries coming together to create their own currency to kind of like bump the US dollar off. So I think we're going to see more of that. We're seeing war, essentially economic war between countries, where they're trying to, Trump applying tariffs to China and to Canada and stuff. We're seeing essentially making it very financially difficult for countries if they don't adhere to new approaches to things. So I think, and of course, in that state, the people are always the casualty in there, right? The civilians are the casualty in economic wars, and what we have seen, not in all cases, but since 2020, the middle class has become less wealthy, and so that's something that we're dealing with, less ability to confront some of these challenges that we're seeing before us. And what I will say is, again, a little bit offshoot, but not really. Pluto is out of bounds. Pluto is moving into out of bounds territory this year, and it's going to last for a couple of years. And it's at what we call south declination. And what's interesting about that is this transit at south declination has not happened for thousands of years. The north declination one happened during World War II. And we're seeing the south declination one that's happening, and it's going to be happening over the course of the next couple of years. And that is a rise up of the people, so that the revolution that we're seeing, especially with Pluto's movement into Aquarius, with Uranus's movement into Gemini. So that was right after World War II as well. We're seeing, new innovation, new technology, but also how people are going to be responding to some of these things and the injustices. There's been a lot of injustice that's been going on for a while in a lot of areas. Many countries, whether that was intentional or not, I won't even get into that, but it is a way that you destabilize countries, is through not having a proper legal system that's following through. And so I do think we're going to see an increase in that, especially in Canada for sure, but in many other countries as well.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Mike, I'll give some insights more from a psychic spiritual level. The messages that I've been receiving was, and again, I'm not a financial advisor or any of those things. I'm just a lady that talks to dead people. But the insights I got was September 15th, have everything in order for September 15th. And I don't remember what transit it was, Vanessa, you can maybe refresh me, but there is other stuff going on there too. So the biggest messages, because I always ask from the highest perspective, what's needed to know: get out of debt, ensure that you have your food sources secured. Now, does that mean everybody's gonna go buy a cow? No. I'm getting a cow. I'm pretty freaking excited. That's one of my favorite things for this year. But have a group of people that you love and trust, and, you know, go in on a cow together if you like beef and fill your freezer. Go in and get some bulk food, split it up. If somebody loves to garden and somebody else loves to make maple syrup, trade off. You know, have your people that you go direct to barter and trade with. And not just for physical commodity, but for spiritual and emotional commodity too. Have people in your corner that you love and trust that you can go to and say, hey, I'm having a tough day, you know, because I think we're in this vulnerable state of, it's okay to not be okay sometimes. And that the years and seasons of be tough and pull up your pants and, you know, you don't worry about anything, don't show your emotions. I think we're all over it. I think we're all over it. And that vulnerability can be a strength, especially when you encircle yourself with people that you love and trust, that you can just say, hey, I've got a need over here. What can we do about that? Because there is going to be shifts and changes. Digital currency is going to be a thing. I've been saying it for years. Diversify your money. Again, not a financial advisor, but it's smart to do that. And also understand that when we work with technology, just like that video yesterday that I'm still working to upload, things go awry sometimes. There's going to be times our debit cards are not going to work. We are not going to be able to access our money if it's in digital. So we have to have backup plans. So have backup for your backup. So those are the things that I will say in around stock market and investing and all of that stuff. Make sure your house is in order. Make sure that you feel safe within there, and then you'll be able to help others. So that's just my insight. Do you remember what transit that was, Vanessa, we were talking about in September?
Yeah, the 21st, September 21st eclipse. That one is a whopper. I've not seen a chart like that ever. It's essentially a kite pattern with 3 tails. And it's unreal. And at the top, we have essentially the coming, you know, within a couple degrees of each other, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So yeah, it's I'm gonna stay at home after June. So if just as a recommendation in terms of travel, just, you know, be where you know the environment, and because we don't really know what that's gonna look like. It's gonna be wild. That's all I know. I know it's gonna be wild, and it's very unpredictable with a kite pattern like that.
I will be traveling, and if there's travel problems, I'll just beg Kelly to sleep in her spare room. Awesome. Okay, so the last question. How did you know that you wanted to do what you do? I'm a medium, I think, but scared to tell my work, my friends, my family, and how I would be received. So Cassandra, what do you think for that?
I had a real lucky childhood. I say lucky because my mom was a very intuitive person. She worked full time in the school system, but she would take us to Lilydale, and as I was 13, and I was exposed to all this at an early age. But I came out of the A closet after I got a degree in social work and in communications. When I was 28, I started coming out of the A closet, and that was a difficult time because it was pre-internet. It was right after Nancy Reagan was being ridiculed for using an astrologer in the White House. It was at that time in the 80s. And but the bottom line is your heart knows, and you will find a way. We spiritual types are becoming less and less fringy. There was a huge shift that happened on 2011. Neptune, the spiritual planet, went into Pisces, and it was there when actually Lilydale was founded. And so be open to that the other folks on the planet are having the same type of reawakening that you are, and don't be afraid. You know, let the fear go. So if people are feeling guided, and here's something else, it's not an absolute. I do 2 things. You know, I still see massage clients, and I do my other stuff. You can still have your day job and still do mediumship and astrology. Whatever. You can balance a lot of different things. That was my reaction to people.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Stacy, what do you
welcome.
think?
So I too, so my mediumistic abilities never really were in the closet. I mean, I was at kindergarten, I was freely talking about, talking to my relatives. I think though, being queer too and coming out at a late age, right? So like there's lots of closets I think we all have to come out of in different parts in our life. And I think that when you find your own true essence or energy, like of where you're at, and stop wearing your own masks, and then you start, attracting around you through the law of vibration, those people, you walk out of that closet always never alone. Usually there is some support spiritually, physically, whatever. And I laugh because I think just, through the law of vibration, through the law of energy, it's not a chase to the end or to reach the highest, but as our energy shifts, the energy up and below us have to disengage or start to engage as we change our vibration. So don't try to push yourself out of a closet. Just, when you see the door open and you're ready to take the step through, that's kind of when you do it. I feel like the more we push ourselves, the more difficult it can be. Like I like what Cassandra just said, I can have this job and I can have that job. And, I decided to eventually, when do you, like Vanessa said, when do you put your shingle out? Like, we have this, kind of sometimes fear of self-promotion, right? Because, we're just here to help. And, but eventually shingles have to go out, or, push yourself. And never in a million years, there was no psychic or astrological chart. However, I am a triple Aquarius. I don't know what that means. I love you. But a lot of people say I have too many things in too many Aquariuses. I'm a real weirdo. But that's okay. The thing is if a psychic would have told me 15 years, 20 years ago, hey, you're gay, you're going to divorce, you're going to marry a woman, you're going to own a coffee house in Lilydale, and you're going to do this, this, and this, and this, I would have said to them, I want my money back. I think you're full of it. And now I am enjoying a life I could never imagine for myself, because I just gently came out of closets as the door slowly opened.
Beautiful. I think that's a great point too. There are closets and boxes all over, and that's part of us evolving our human experience and also our soul by stepping out of these different spaces and just embodying more of who we truly are. And so, yeah, I love that you mentioned that. That's great, Stacy. Thank you. All right, Tammy, how about for you?
Well, my best advice is always be yourself. And no one benefits from you hiding your brilliance. And you're looking at someone, my entire life, I've taken risks, and so has my husband. I've always trusted the intuitive nudges that I've gotten. And I've made several career changes. I've worked in corporate, I've worked by myself, I've worked for nonprofit, I've worked for education, I've worked for the government, I've worked for the municipalities. And, it wasn't that I couldn't hold down a job, which is the way my friends looked at it. Like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you hold down a job? It had nothing to do that. When I outgrew that position, then I found the courage to follow the next breadcrumb that had fallen. And so I wanted to get to the end of my life and look back on it without regret. Does that mean everything turned out the way I had hoped it would? No, there were bumps along the way, but I always took the risk. And I am so grateful for being able to look back and see those risks that I took. So my best advice is, no one wins when we're not living our authentic life. Nobody wins. And that's where stress and overwhelm and depression and all of that comes from. So, yes, we lose people along the way because they don't understand. And I don't mean this next statement with any disregard or any disrespect, but a butterfly can't speak caterpillar. There's nothing wrong with the caterpillar, and there's nothing wrong with the butterfly. But the transition that that caterpillar went through to become that butterfly, they no longer speak the language. They no longer live in the same environment. And so it comes back again to the grief work that I do. I think the greatest gift it's given me is that saying, you know, what is it? What is it? Something, a season, and a lifetime. Oh, darn, I always know what it is. Now I can't. Oh, you're here for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. People come in and out of your life for those reasons. They're here to teach you something. They're here to inspire you, like Shirley. They might be here for a couple years. There are very, very few people that travel this entire journey with us from beginning to end. And so I've learned to just send them on their way with love, to be grateful for the lessons we had learned or taught each other, for the time that we spent together. But as we evolve and grow, we are going to lose people along the way. And it's meant to be that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I like to compare it to having our closet. We have some outfits that we really loved and we looked really cute in them at 21. But that doesn't mean I'm pulling it out for Friday for my next meeting, right? Like, you know, there's different things. We go through these phases and we're grateful for that outfit. We looked really cute in that outfit. It was so comfortable and it made us feel welcome when we got home, but it doesn't mean we're supposed to keep wearing it. So,
Exactly.
Sam, do you have a camera in my house?
no, but I do love shopping in your closet.
I was in that closet this weekend. I think I saw one of those outfits. You know, I don't tap into all the special gifts that I've been given because one for me is enough, or two. But coming out of anything from what you used to be, right? Because you are not what you used to be. And we evolve. People forget that. So we're not supposed to stay the same. We're supposed to evolve. And if we are staying the same, Houston, we have a problem, right? So all these pretend things that we do to make other people happy make us miserable. And the most beautiful thing that I've ever done in my life was just be me. Now, I wasn't always me. I had on mask, trying to make everybody happy and all of that. And then when I realized, damn if I do and damn if I don't, then it's about me, right? It's about you. Because you can't help anyone if you're miserable or if you're not being yourself, because you don't know which mask to put on today. So you're just lost. So once you just step into, you know what? I had this story about this woman who was married. And she was married and she had two boys. And her husband and her boys loved baked ziti. And for years, she made baked ziti on Fridays. And she would be so excited about it because she was pouring love onto her boys and her husband. So the boys go off to college. And she had been under a little bit of stress at work. And her husband called her at work and he said, "Hun, when you get home, just shower, relax. I'm bringing home dinner. I'm bringing your favorite meal." And she's like, "What?" And he says, "Don't you worry. You always take care of us. I'm going to take care of you." So she gets home. She takes a nice bubble bath. She's singing around the house. She can't wait till dinner gets there. And dinner gets there. And he's setting up everything. And he opens up a tray of baked ziti. What he never realized is that when she made baked ziti for them, she made fish for her. And she never ate the baked ziti. So he never paid attention that she did all of this for them. And she thought, I'm just pouring on the love to my family. And they know that I love them and I'm doing this for them. And all along, she hated baked ziti. She hated it. And he had no clue. So the moral of the story is do shit for yourself. Make yourself happy. Make yourself feel good. And tell people who you are. Some will, some won't, so what? Not everybody's supposed to go on that ride with you, just like Tammy said. They're not supposed to. Most of them get you to a certain point, and then you get an epiphany, and you're like, oh, all right. And then you do the jig, and then somebody else comes into your life, and you get that next epiphany. Oh, I'm supposed to go right? All right, I'm going right. And when you look back on your trail, like I tell people, look to your left, right? Over your shoulder. Those are the people who've been cheering you along, who've been there, but didn't go on the ride with you. And then you look over to the right, and it's all those boulders and bricks and stones that people threw at you, and judgments and tree limbs and car parts and body parts that got in your way. And you're standing up straight inside of yourself today because you did the work at becoming your best version of you. And you can't regret that. You won't regret that. You won't feel sad about that because that feels so sexy to just be your damn self. That's all I got to say about that closet.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, Vanessa, did you get a chance to answer that one yet?
No, I don't know if I can follow Shirley's there, but I'll just say,
Can't top Shirley, can we? Just show's over.
what I will say, my background before going into astrology was mediumship. So I've been down that road. I don't actively offer that service right now, but that is something I've been there, and I know what it feels like to be an outcast or to be afraid of being an outcast. And as everybody was talking, I was just kind of allowing what was coming through for me. And there was a couple of things. One is that you're already doing it. Like when we do this stuff, you're doing, when people come to you for advice and support and whatever, that's what you're doing. You're just not telling them that that's what you're doing. Okay. So let's just, first of all, just acknowledge the fact that you're already doing it, and you don't have to be like, you don't have to change what you're doing in any way. In fact, like they're okay with you doing it. It's helping them, right? And it's more the titles that we put on things that make us feel afraid. The other piece is that, at least with mediumship and any intuitive work that you're doing, as long as we're willing to be wrong, right, then we can step out of the way of the ego, which allows you to be a channel for whatever's coming through, because it's not coming from you, it's coming through you anyway, which allows us to take ownership off of what is being shared and the work that we're doing, right? Which is fantastic. Right? It's because then if you can do that, you can get out of your own way and you can benefit from it just as much as everybody else is benefiting from it. And then the third thing is that we don't need an announcement. Like, I know Shirley did an amazing one about announcing. So if you're going to do it, like, do it the way that she talked about it. But you don't need an announcement sometimes, because an announcement, when we do that, we're seeking permission in some cases from that person to say, is it okay if I do this? Like, are you okay? We want acknowledgement from them. We want acceptance from them. And it's not necessarily the right way to go about it. You don't need their acknowledgement and their acceptance, because you have it from where it matters, which is the information that you're sharing anyway. Like, that's where it matters most, right? So if you don't feel comfortable giving it the name of mediumship, don't call it mediumship. If you're, sometimes what we're going to find is that in the beginning, we're really afraid of sharing what we do and when talking about it and giving it a name. Eventually you won't be, because you're going to notice that those people that you were really afraid of sharing it with anyways aren't going to get it. They're, like Shirley said, they're not going to be along for the ride with you. And so it doesn't really matter. But right now, in the bigness of it, if it feels really scary, don't feel like you have to, like, kind of go in fucking naked. I don't think you have to, like, strip down and being like, this is me, right? Throw rocks or laugh at me or whatever. We don't need that to really fully own what we're doing. What we have to acknowledge is that it is who we are. You're already doing it anyway, whether you call it that or not. And then the other piece is that it's not from you anyway. So if it's not from you, then there's nothing to be embarrassed by to begin with. Right? So I do think, and then we don't need permission to do it. We don't need a title. We don't need, you're gonna do it however you want to do it. But we don't need other people's consent. And I think that that's the problem, is because once you invite that, once you announce and be like, hey, by the way, I'm doing this, in a way, it's like we're saying, throw rocks at me. Because you're going to have people that are never, ever, ever going to accept that about you, right? They're going to talk behind your back. They're going to put you down. They're going to call you a fraud, right? They're going to do that stuff because they're uncomfortable with it for whatever reason. Maybe they are intuitive themselves and have never actually owned it. Who knows? But ultimately, we don't need that type of acceptance just from we just need it from ourselves, right? And that comes from just acknowledging that that's just who you are.
Beautiful, beautiful. And it is so much lighter in life to just be you and not be censoring what's coming out of you. It's so freeing. Laura, did you get a chance to answer?
Not yet. So basically my take on this is what I'm doing now. But let's step back to where I began, right? And as I reflected on my life and got to where I was, when I was in college and taking medical stuff, I was in the medical record technician. So understanding that as being a healer or being, helping people in service, there's a lot of twists and turns along the way in my lifetime to bring me to where I am here. And in that evolution of changing to be the best person that I am right now, or at that time, that could have been 20 years ago, but you know what, we keep evolving through it. And who says that you're not supposed to go, all these twists and turns and actually like climbing up a summit and doing a switchback and driving up a mountain. That's what we're supposed to be doing in this lifetime to get where we want to get, where we want to go. Sorry. Anyways, starting from, back when we were younger and then evolving to where we are now. And what I'm doing now with the modalities I'm doing weren't even a thought process when I was graduating college in 1985. Right? So it's like, then I decided to go in the hospitality industry for 30 years. And it's funny because when I started doing the numerology, I'm missing the number 2. The number 2 is cooperation, support, and being diplomatic. And I had to learn that. I had to learn that in my lifetime and to learn how to support other people and not be that number 1 in my life, but learn how to serve other people. So our life is all about these twists and turns, and it's fantastic. And it's exhilarating during our lifetime to get to where we are. And you get where you are now, and then you're still, I know I am, you're still on this progress of being the best version of yourself. And what next? And what's exciting next? And being above the fray of the 3D and trying to stay as positive and happy and jovial. And actually, it's funny, today I don't know why I was fooling around in my drawer, but I found this list of things that make me joyful. I'm like, where'd that come from? I don't even remember reading this, right? But you know what? This is what I needed to see right then and there, is to bring some more joy into my life and just be happy to evolve into the next version of myself. So
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. I want to be cognizant of time, and I know that Cassandra has her YouTube update. Definitely after this call or any other time, every Wednesday, visit Cassandra on YouTube because she always gives a great insight to what's happening and goes through all the different signs, and she does some mediumship. So Cassandra, before you go, can you just share any last thoughts and any fun things? I know you're doing Astro Cafe tomorrow night because I will be there coordinating again. So what's happening in the world of Cassandra so people can follow up with you?
Thank you. Visit me on Wednesday nights, and I'm getting some texts from people. So I just want to say, you guys all rock. Your ships are great, Shirley. Y'all, I'm very inspired. I wish I spent more time, engaged. And thank you, Sam, for bringing us all together. Oh my gosh, I'm so beyond grateful. Thank you. Yeah, check out I call it Cosmic Connection. I'm doing a lot of different things this year, but most of all, like each of us, just allowing myself to move over and let things flow through, because we're all very courageous. And that's the other quality of Saturn, Neptune at 0 Aries. Not only are we creating a new world in each of us, for everyone, but just zapping your courage. And that's my takeaway from listening to all of you too. Courage, courage, courage. Be your authentic self. That's what we're all here to do. Right?
Beautiful.
Oh, big hugs. I have to
Beautiful.
run. So
Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon, Cassandra. All right, so I want to make sure I give everybody who's here live, if you wanted to ask a question, just put up your hand and I can unmute you, and then you'll have a chance to share some favorite moments from the summit or ask a question to one or all of our speakers, anything like that. So does anybody have anything for us? Come on, Kelly, I've never seen you this quiet before, ever.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm just not feeling tip top.
Oh, it's going around, honey. I'm sorry.
It's the creeping crud. Everybody has it. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for their expertise and insights. And so everyone on the screen, I think, except for Laura right now, I've actually heard of or met in person. Shirley, you taught another little class with Sam that I was a part of, and I want to thank each one of you for all your insights and inspirations. And I really have always had an interest in astrology, and I'm listening to both Vanessa and to Cassandra was very interesting. And I think it's funny because I was kind of watching your heads. You were like, you know, when the other was speaking, and I have sensed some of the same intuitive feelings about 2025. And it's nice to just be with like people who you can articulate that around. I mean, I can't explain it to one of my coworkers at work. It just doesn't work. And I also want to thank Vanessa too for pointing out that you really don't have to go out there naked and come out the door. You can just do 2 things at one time and slowly. And to Stacy's point, you know, open those doors. Sometimes you kick them open, sometimes you peek around the corner. So, you know, that's very insightful, and I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the speakers. I haven't seen them all, so thank you.
Beautiful, thank you. And I mean, with working full-time, the fact that you saw as many as you did is quite admirable, I have to say. All right, anybody else who's here live but not off camera necessarily? If you'd like to ask a question, you're welcome to now. Feel free to drop it in the chat or ask out loud. But I think we're coming up to our close of this year's Consciously Creating Your 2025 Summit. And I want to say I am so grateful to every one of the speakers. You know, it's interesting when you plan events, when you plan a conference, you have your A-list, like the people you'd really love, and then you have people you really like that are backups for when those A-lists can't come. And not to brag, but my whole A-list said yes, except for one, and it's because she was going to be away. So, I mean, pretty darn good. We've got an amazing crew here. It's always a dream of mine to bring the people that I love together, because I just see that synastry that gets developed and everything. So I'm so grateful that you're all here, that you've all been so open and sharing. And I know that the people watching the videos have really been enjoying that as well. So I'm just going to give everybody a chance to have final thoughts, but also put your shingles out, say what you've got coming up. I know one exciting thing, I had a bunch of comments from Stormy's conversation. They're like, yes, the Venus stuff, I need that. So Stormy and I were collaborating earlier today, and she's going to be offering her Venus reset with special pricing. And we're going to do 2 bonus calls. So it is, I believe, it's either 21 or 28-day reset. So halfway through, we're going to jump on a live call. Anybody doing it in the group gets to come and ask questions and share their experience. And then at the end as well. So that will be happening probably February-ish. And I'll have details coming out in email very soon. So that's what's going on with Stormy, with Cassandra just popping out. Again, she has Astro Cafe tomorrow night through Lilydale. And you can actually, summer season, a lot of it is already on the website. So you can go to Lilydale, you can type in your favorite teachers or people you're curious about. You'll find Stacy in there, you'll find me in there, you'll find Cassandra in there, you will find Miss Kelly in there. We all have workshops coming up, and you can just type our name in the search, and all of the things that we're doing are going to pop up. I don't think everything's quite out there, but a lot of things are. So if you're looking forward to summer adventures, you'll be able to find us there. And that's another fun way to reach everybody. So for you, Laura, what have you got coming up that you'd like to share with everybody, and any final thoughts for the summit?
Well, I just want to thank you, Sam, for putting this all together. It was absolutely terrific. And it was lovely meeting everybody that through the speakers. I have a collaboration, but it's an in-person one that I'm doing with a friend of mine from high school. And it's called A Vision. So I'm doing the numerology cycles in it, and she's doing the yoga. She's just becoming a yoga teacher. So we're doing a day retreat on February 2nd. So your vision, your year, and it's here in Niagara Falls. That's where I'm located in. And other than that, I'm putting together some other workshops and stuff that I'm doing online coming after June this year. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. So before we go on to Vanessa, those of you on the call this morning, you saw it. I have it right here. My goodness, that's right. It's all tabbed up. I was using it today. So I love Vanessa's physical copy of Moonsight Planner. I literally use it every single day. But Vanessa also has a digital version, and she actually gifted everybody in the All Access Pass a copy of that for a month to try it out. And because you're here on this call and you've been joining us in this celebration, if you email me, take any of the emails we've sent and just hit reply and say, add me to that list. If you're not an All Access Pass member, I'm going to add you to it, and you're going to get all of the gifts from all these amazing speakers. So I'm going to let Vanessa take over now, but definitely that Moonsight planning, let me tell you, it is a godsend. It helps keep you on track with all of the cycles, everything going on, especially with all these long void moons and everything else coming up. You'll want to know where to put your energy. So Vanessa, if you'd like to just share any last thoughts and plug away.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say, I haven't run summits, but I've run my own promotions for stuff. And I know that this is a boatload of work, Sam. So big kudos to you for putting it on, because wow. To make things work and make them work together and not lose your freaking mind at the same time, it is a gift, I'm going to tell you. So thank you very much for inviting me and for all the work that you put in to make this all happen. And you've got some stellar, amazing, incredible people that you've brought together today, and people I didn't even know existed. And I'm very happy that I've gotten a chance to be in their orbit. Some things that you may be interested in, the planner that Sam just shared, I have a physical version of that. I also have like a PDF version. There's also Moonsight Digital Calendar, which it takes all those transits and puts them into Google Calendar, and they come with summaries. There's over 1,600 transits in there, and it works with any of your devices, so phone, laptop, computer. I also have a Moonsight Planning Lab, which Sam is in. And it's where we use the astrology of these transits to grow our businesses. If you're interested in that, you can check that out at moonsightastrology.com/lab. So there's that there. You'll also, if she's sharing the sampler with you, you'll get an introduction to it through there anyway. And finally, I just got 2 events that are coming up, one for Sedona, March 19th to 22nd for the spring equinox, and then one for Stonehenge in the UK for June 19th to 22nd. If you guys are interested in attending something in person, I'd love to support you through all these major transits that we're having, but also meeting when they're happening at places that are astrologically significant is a really powerful experience. So thank you. That's everything for me.
Beautiful. So I put it in the chat. I hope I got it right. This is moonsiteastrology.com/lab, right?
Correct. Yep.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. All right. And Tammy, how about for you?
So again, thank you, Sam. I really appreciated being a part of this, and just kind of a reminder to the listeners that what's really important is to clear whatever is in your way so that you can hear the messages. There's been a lot of talk tonight about going within and listening. And there are so many modalities, so many tools, so many professionals out there that are certainly able to support you and guide you on the next part of your journey. If you're looking for any emotional healing, or you're wanting to learn about your personality, the best way to find me is tadams.ca. And the services that I have are there. But the other thing is there's tons of free resources there. There's ebooks and podcasts and interviews and blogs, and it's not meant as a marketing site, it's meant as a resource site. So please feel free to access it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And Shirley, how about for you? We've got a retreat coming up.
Yes, we have a retreat coming up. You'll hear about the date soon. I'm looking at 2 places, so may the best property win. And you're going to hear about my series workshop coming out, because we're going to get our ships together finally. I'm done talking about it. It's about it in 25.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. And everybody's moved. Let me see here. I don't want to miss anyone. Stacy, how about for you?
So I just am excited to meet some of you, and Sam putting this together is always fantastic. I have a website, Spiritualist Stacy, that kind of tells you kind of what I do, but I'm putting a lot more of my effort into holding space and building a conscious community through creativity and coffee, haha, in case you didn't wonder. So I do invite any of you, if you should find yourself in the Lilydale area and you have a book or a card or a planner or a journal, we do meet the authors. I have an artist in residence program, I'm happy to host any of you to, promote your books, or, like Tammy said, we're all just, Tammy and Ram Dass both said we're all just walking each other home. So, however that is. And I love that she talks about what one does for one, another can do for another. And, that's, the energy that I'd love to give. So I just welcome any of that, fun ideas, to create that space. So that's what I think is, that's what I'm up to. And then who knows what else I'm up to, because the many squirrels in my ships are directing me in many different directions. I might be coming, Shirley, to your class to get these squirrels in line. Okay.
Her squirrels may party with your squirrels during the class.
Thank you.
Thank you. I did get everybody correct. Let me know if I missed anybody, because I never want to. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much to everybody who's joined us for the summit. I love sharing some of my absolute favorite people with you. It's one thing, when we can promote people, but when you can promote people that you love, it takes it to a next level. As you can see, these people are absolutely beautiful and fantastic. And I feel that like attracts like. So that tells me that you're all pretty freaking fantastic too. So thank you so much for making this extra special. 2025, yes, there is uncharted territories, but we all chose to be here, and it's going to be magical in its own way. Stay in that space of love. Trust that you deserve only beautiful things in your life. and I will look forward to seeing you soon. Take care, everyone.
Bye.